Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the afternoon session of the NextGEOSS Summit, where we are going to talk about the future contribution of NextGEOSS to the GEO work program, to the GEO community at large. Today we have with us Nuno Catarino, who is the coordinator of NextGEOSS, and he will also, of course, have a key role in the future of NextGEOSS. And we will start with that. And then we will learn about eShape and discuss a national program, and I will be doing that, and we will have a discussion. Nuno Grosso, you will present also NextLand in another context today, right? Yes. Okie dokie. Let's start. We want to hear from you in the chat. As usual, write your questions there and comment. And this afternoon, we have a free seat where we can invite you in. It will be less complicated than in the morning session. And all you need to do is to raise your hand. Make sure you have a Chrome browser, a webcam, a microphone, and a fast internet connection. Okay, Nuno, can you start the show by introducing our ideas on NextEOSS community activity?
Definitely. Thank you, Bente. Thank you all. Welcome to this second part of today's session. So I would like to talk to you about the NextEOSS community activity that we are proposing, or we proposed last year to be included in the GEO work program. Bente, slides.
Yes.
Will you present the slides?
I will
start them.
I will do that. I will share my screen. Just hold on. I will share it.
Without introducing it
here.
There we are.
Yeah. Well, I was clicking the wrong one. Now I lost track of where I am. Let me see. It's 3.8. There it is. Yes. So it is the first slide. I will use this one. Do you see it?
I see your session 2 extension slide.
Okay, I will stop and then let's see. I'm not sharing the right one.
Maybe I can show if you prefer.
Yeah, do you have this? I sent you the slide.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have it here. Yeah. So let's do sharing on. Okay, there we are. Okay, so as I said, we proposed a NextEOSS activity to be included in the GEO work program last year. It was the activity was approved. I'll go a little bit with you over this activity and why we're proposing it and what we intend to do with this activity, and also how we expect to have your collaboration and your participation. So, as you probably know, GEO has several kinds of initiatives. So there are GEO initiatives, GEO community activities, and GEO foundational tasks. The GEO community activities are the lightest weight entry into the GEO ecosystem. Let's call it like that. And what we intend to do here is to consolidate the community that we've been gathering around NextGEOSS and extend this with more offers from the technical side and more requests from the thematic side to cater for the needs of the service builders and making the path from R&D to operational services. So the goal that we have is to do a faster uptake of EO data, to do the operation of the data hub. So the data hub that we have in NextGEOSS will continue and will be put in as let's say as an asset within NextEOS. We now have, I believe, more than 5 million data sets. So it's one of the largest, if not the largest, data set catalog in Europe for Earth observation. Sorry, Bente, someone is clicking on the keyboard. If you could mute yourself. Thank you. So the goal is to have not only the data, but the platform services that we have now, and all the services that we are providing in, to enlarge this with whatever offers the data, the application builders would need, so we can facilitate the uptake of this technology. So the activity is, so it has started about less than a year ago, and work with the geo community activities, with initiatives, with flagships, regional hubs, towards having an interoperability of components. So the goal is not to have a closed system. It's basically to have, in line with GEOSS and with the GEO approach, to have a collaborative environment where you can pick and choose which parts to use. And we want to inherit as much as we can from NextGEOSS, as much as possible. So we will focus on having the process that we have now for engagement that Marie-Francoise is responsible for. So the goal is to have an initial user engagement, then we do the preparation of the data for the users, then the platform setup, pilot integration, and service operation. So this is the overall environment that we have been working now, and we want this to be part of the whole process for engagement in NextGEOSS, and we want to evolve even also this process collaboratively with you. This is the onboarding details. So basically, in the first part, our approach is to understand what the pilot wants to offer and what NextGEOSS can do for this pilot. The data preparation is the next step, where we go to request what are the data needs and what will be the needs that we'll have in the pilot or in the service, and then we add the activity, and then we start with the analysis of the ICT needs and the integration in the cloud service, and finally the support to operations of the service with monitoring tools and so on. So this is the overall, let's say, framework that we're bringing to NextEOSS, and we would like to have your participation for improving this and evolving this. In NextEOSS, you can see the work program. You can download it from the GEO work program webpage. So the NextEOSS will have several components. So one will be generic coordination, a very lightweight part. Then we'll have a second working group, which will be on architecture and interoperability. Then one on data management, platform services, operations and monitoring, capacity building, and dissemination. And then, of course, we would like to have representatives of thematic user groups, because we need to identify for each thematic area what are the specific needs that we need to address, because for sure a generic system for biodiversity will not be the same as support tools for urban pollution or urban sprawl. So we want to have these thematic groups to help us and to give us the connection with the user needs, and to understand what we need to cater for in all specific cases. For now we have the page in NextGEOSS, in the NextGEOSS website. The project will start to have a life of its own after we close the activity, after we close the NextGEOSS project itself. But you can now go to nextgeos.eu/NextEOSS, and we'll have more information about the community activity and to subscribe in the activity. We plan to have, we're planning one meeting okay, no, this is, we'll have, okay.
Yeah.
this is today. So we have the session today where we've been explaining this, and in now. And tomorrow we'll also talk about the next years in context with the European landscape of activities and GEO as well. The goal that we have to kickstart activities regularly is to have a first meeting, or second, we have one. So to have a meeting on the 12th of November, and then to start with on the 3rd of December to have regular meetings every month on the first Thursday of the month. We're trying to schedule the time exactly for this, but it will probably be the same time, because so we can cater for as many times around the world that we can. So for this 12th of November, if you register, we'll send an email with details to connect, and the goal is to have an initial discussion on what we're going to do next. We will, in these meetings, there will be short meetings, about an hour each, and the goal will be to address issues in a very short time frame, and then, if necessary, we can set dedicated meetings for issues that need to be discussed. But the goal of these regular meetings is for everyone to keep in touch of what is being done and to raise issues that can be addressed elsewhere. So please do join the initiative, and let's meet on the 12th of November virtually. Okay, thank you all very much, and have a good sessions also the rest of the afternoon and tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, Bente.
Thank you, Nuno. So you got here an overview again of the NextEOS activity, the plans that we have, and as you have seen earlier today in the morning session, there is a lot of potential to develop more pilots and also to catalog data from other projects. That's also something that we can work on in the NextEOS community activity. Nuno, maybe you can talk also a little bit about the plans for the data hub itself, because I think that, you know, NextGEOSS, which will be the starting point for the NextEOS community activity, that consists also of, I mean, we have a special plan for the data hub itself. Maybe you can say a few words about that as well.
Yes, certainly. So the data hub, the goal of the data hub is to have a free access point for redirecting the users to new data. So this will always be free. So this will never be charged. And we have ensured Demos and EGI to CESNet have ensured the resources to have the data hub working. Now we have the resources for 3 years. This is already ensured, and we will make sure that we have the resources to continue to have the data hub on all the time. So if you want to catalog data, please let us know. We have resources to help you do that. As João mentioned, I believe on Tuesday, we'll have a tool that will help you catalog the data. So the goal of the data hub is to be a facilitator for data exchange and data download. So please do engage. It will continue to be a free service, and then we expect to maintain it for a long time.
Yes, absolutely. And another service that will be accessible both for free for all the GEO community across all the work program, and where you can use the NextEOS community activity to test out, is the geospatial user feedback service that we have. That will also be maintained. That will be maintained by CREAF and University of Barcelona. So that is also something that will be a low threshold kind of activity that we can invite we are inviting the entire GEO community to participate in.
Exactly.
Yeah. You are sharing your screen, Nuno? Can you unshare perhaps?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we are. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then we can turn on our cameras again so people can see who we are behind the voices. It's already bad enough that we have not the possibility to meet actually in the same place. Okay, so what else did I want to underline, Nuno, from what you showed there? I think we saw that many different user communities. So we have we will hear from Lionel and Marie-Francoise later on the E-Shape, and a lot of different pilots and communities that are active there. But there is a lot more going on in the GEO work program, and it is possible for we are actually inviting them to join us. And of course, some training will be useful, if not even necessary, in order to be able to use the platform services. And of course, we also have to discuss funding for resource mobilization, one of my old activities in the GEO work program. It is a challenge, but this is something that we plan to work on also together in the NextEOS community activity. You're mute, Nuno.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So the project itself, NextGEOS, and the community activity have the very particular aspects that are completely transversal to all Earth observation aspects. So they go from the technical side, from data gathering, from deployment in cloud, to the thematic side, and this is what we aim to bring in NextGEOS, and we aim to keep in NextEOS as well. So the goal is not to propose or to force technological advancements, is to have a sort of a push approach where the users will tell us what they need, and we will ask for also contributing resources from the members of the group. So the goal is that we have like 3 hours, and we coordinate these allocations to continue to evolve the ecosystem, exactly, which we've been starting in NextGEOS.
Yeah, and also an important message here is not only are those free services that we mentioned available, but we also have TerraDue, and together with Deimos, securing that this will be available after the project. So we have already a starting financing, if you like, of this, and we will collectively continue to resource mobilize in different, you know, there are different ways of doing that, but we do have this core foundation, which is there. It's not only the NextGEOS project as a full stop. There are several partners, including my company BLB. We will contribute with webinars, with communication, we will be there to support those who are interested to join this community.
Exactly. So, just one final note, which is we have, as Kaushik presented earlier on this week, we will have a sustainability approach for NextGEOS, and then by extension to NextEOS as well. And in case you're wondering what a private company or several private companies are doing with this kind of approach and pushing for community activity, our target, and I believe most of the institutions working in this area, the target is to allow for the use of Earth observation, to have a market growth that we don't have yet. I mean, the potential for Earth observation is huge, but it's being completely underexplored, and this is what we're trying to address here. So we will have some commercial services with Deimos and TerraDue and BLB, but the target here is not to do business specifically with this. It's to make people understand and use the potential of Earth observation. So this is the whole purpose that we have. And then when it becomes ubiquitous, the use of Earth observation, then we have an open market. But for now, our mission is basically to push for the increased usage of the resources that are already available in Europe and elsewhere.
Yes, and thank you for that, to be full transparency in why we are motivated to do this. It's in the context of the NextEOS community activity. This is an open community. We are using open source also, and we are promoting and advocating the use of open data. So this is, this is at the core. We are following the NextGEOS data sharing principles and data management principles. That this is goes without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. Okay, so thank you. We can come back. We will come back to this. If you have questions about NextEOS, please let us know. I have posted both a link to the document, the full description that you will find on the GEO website, on the earthobservation.org website. I've also, in the sticky notes there, you will see the page that Nuno was showing, where you can subscribe. So you can subscribe to an email list, and that's where we will give you more information about the meetings and start communicating with you, and then we will expand from there. Okay, I think we are ready to learn about a new opportunity to use NextGEOS in the future, and that is through the eShape project, which is a major contribution, a part of EuroGEO. NextGEOS is of course also that, but there's a whole range of pilots that we will hear about, and the possibilities also in the future. Marie-Francoise, Lionel, you are sharing this the floor now.
We have built the presentation together, but I will do it.
Yeah, okay. We turn off our cameras, and I will also remember the sound, so you don't hear my.
Oh, I'm not in a. Okay. So we have seen with Nuno how NextGEOS is going to follow up in the GEO work program context. Here I begin to explain how NextGEOS is already keeping on evolving into the European projects. And the first one is the eShape. As you know, I am involved in NextGEOS and in eShape, such as Lionel, Armin, and Thierry, and others, and Deimos, for instance. And so here it's a mixed presentation that introduces both, and sometimes I will have my eShape hat, I will tell you, and sometimes my NextGEOS hat. So first, I would like to try to identify which are the needs which are expressed from the eShape pilots towards platforms. So here I put my eShape hat and listening to the pilots, and we have 55 partners, 27 pilots, 7 showcases, so different domains, and we have a 4-year grant. And so this is a big amount of pilots that we can consider are representing the Earth observation community. They are quite representative because they are from very different domains. They are from several countries and many participants. So I consider that they are a very good panel for us to understand which are the needs from this Earth observation community. And the goal of eShape is to promote the users uptake of the European Earth observation resources and building on Copernicus and GEOSS through the development of co-designed pilots. This is very important. We co-designed the pilots. In NextGEOSS, we have co-designed the services for the developers, for the pilots development. So it's different co-design. And then build a user-centric approach to deliver economic, social, and policy value to European citizens. And this is something where eShape and NextGEOSS are very much aligned. They're user-centric. And this is what is also my background for my full career. So I really appreciate that. So which are the needs from the eShape pilots? And here you have the two layouts of the two projects because it's a real cooperation. So first, the pilots need to know how to better interact with the user on the web, because they are used to make systems in their offices, but on the web it can be a little bit different. So what is the best way to interact? Considering the data, each time we had meetings between pilots and platform providers, one of the first questions was, what about my specific data I need? It can be digital numerical models with high resolution. It can be in situ. So this is the first question they ask to the platform provider. Then what we have seen is that considering the cloud technology, and this looked to me completely obvious yesterday afternoon, the Earth observation community is not still familiar with these technologies. In fact, I think that when we hear a lot about these technologies, it's from the IT community itself. And right now we are in this transition period where the Earth observation community is adopting these technologies. And so they still need support or capacity development. And this has been understood clearly by the DIAS, for instance, because several DIAS make a specific offer for the support, and they value that very much because it's super needed. So this is needed to prepare the pilots to be scalable, because if you want your application to be to run in parallel on several processors and so on, it is not completely natural. You have to prepare that. Then prepare the pilots to be deployable with the technologies of Docker, which is now quite famous and very easy to use, but also Kubernetes, which is not so so commonly used or known. And considering the cloud technology, how to specify the technical needs to the platform providers. I have attended a telco 2 days ago, and it was really super complicated because depending on the location on the side, the pilots needed different amount of calculation capacity, different amount of storage. So they could not make one size fits all. They really had to go into the detail of each site they were working on. And then they want to get results visibility to support and publish the data or service into a marketplace or make the data visible. Then they also need some support or capacity building to improve the sustainability. What if the platform is not available anymore? This is a worry for them because many platforms are still young. There are many platforms in Europe. They are not sure that all of them will survive. And when you begin to work with a platform, you don't always know at which time you begin to be dependent. Some technologies like Docker or Kubernetes are general for all. But you never know at which time you become dependent. And then reducing costs for integration and prototyping. And then when everything is ready and so on, reduce costs for operations. And this can be on different platforms. Maybe some platforms would be better for support and better for integrating, and other might be more efficient and less costly for operations. So this was the needs I could identify out of my eShape work. So now I switch hats and I go to my NextGEOSS activity and try to identify how NextGEOSS in its capacities addresses these needs. So considering the data, how to handle specific needs, NextGEOSS has begun several months and maybe years ago to work on the data variety. We know that in situ is a challenge in the geo community since ever. Satellites represent, of course, a critical type of data and very big volumes, but sometimes you cannot say that providing satellite data is enough. You need in situ, you need EBVs, you need citizen science. None of the data types are perfect. And it's by mixing them that you get more critical view and more insights into the information which is inside the data. Then NextGEOSS only hosts metadata. So, and this could be seen as a limitation when other platforms provide the data, and that's right. It can be an asset in certain situations for the platform providing the data, but providing only the metadata for big volumes data lets more flexibility on the metadata policy. You can keep the metadata longer, and if one platform provides the data for 6 months over Europe, you might go to this one. If it provides the data over 3 months, but over the whole globe, you might be able to select the data source. And this is exactly what the NOAA Sentinel Linker Hub is doing. So what I can see here, an asset maybe for NextGEOSS on this topic. And then, as said before, the data hub is open source, and the harvesters connected to CCAN are open source. And this means that this community could grow, and we could get more and more harvesters very quickly. And the idea is to develop an open source community around that. And I think this could be very strong, because when you go out of the satellite and you go in the in situ and other data, you can have a lot of diversity of formats and complexity. And so this is where the open source community might be a strength. Then, considering the user interaction, Jupyter Notebooks are offering a lot of flexibility to create user interaction. They are available on most of the platforms, and they're available in NextGEOSS, and they're available in the most of the DS, if not all. So, but this is something which is very important. And the NextGEOSS user feedback can support, as we have detailed on Tuesday, the data providers users interaction, but also the application providers user interaction and the user interactions into discussion forum to identify the best fit for use data. And as we have seen with the presentation from Joanne, it can also be used to collect knowledge and maybe feed the knowledge hub. And this is something that should be followed up, I think, in the NextGEOSS community activity. Considering the cloud technologies, this is really part of the core business of TerraDue partner, and this has been mentioned several times yesterday. The pilots have appreciated very much all the background and skills brought by TerraDue. This is very important because you can be an expert in cloud computing and cloud technologies. If you don't have the Earth observation background, the dialogue with the Earth observation community might be very hard. And TerraDue is coming from ESA. It's a spin-off from ESA, and they have in the genes this Earth observation background, and this is very valuable. And then NextGEOSS has developed a comprehensive Earth observation services suite for the geo communities for all the activities to develop the pilots. Then, considering the results visibility, again, NextGEOSS provides an open catalog of data and catalogs of services. And data services are among the most common EO products, so it should cover most of the deliverables from the pilots. Of course, you can have more. You can have documentations. You can have GitHubs. You can have things, and this has to be deepened maybe with the knowledge hub. But this is already a good start. And NextGEOSS catalog credits the data provider. This is important because it was type of no-go from some research data provider of in-situ data. If you don't credit correctly the data provider, you don't reach these data providers. And then NextGEOSS is crawlable by Google, making that this contributes a lot to the visibility of the results, because the results are discoverable out of this microcosm of geo people. It's really, if you are someone who doesn't know about GEOSS, who doesn't know about this platform, the first thing you would do will Google it, and then you will reach the right target. Considering sustainability, TerraDue has explained that they work on the cloud bursting in several clouds, and this is part of the core business. And integrating on NextGEOSS before deploying on an operational cloud should help reduce the dependencies on a single cloud provider. Considering reducing the costs for integration and prototyping via a didactic onboarding system is something that is here to help accelerate and speed up this process and lower the difficulties and the barriers. And for operations via the capacity to deploy into several cloud providers for long-term operation, this is again, I think, an asset of NextGEOSS that can help reduce the cost for the operations. Okay, now I change hat again. I take again the E-shape hat, or maybe the EuroGEO, but I don't have this one, so I will stay in the E-shape with the E-shape hat. We have mentioned, Lionel has emphasized that NextGEOSS is one of the platforms which is considered by the E-shape pilots. It's not the only one. I have a catalog of more than 45 platforms, which are mixing a lot of different things. Some are portals, some are providing cloud computing, some are data as a service. Nevertheless, NextGEOSS is one of those. And it's mentioned by several pilots. And in my in my clustering of platforms, I put it into the geo-related platforms. Then you have the tabs, and you have the DES and the collaborative cloud ground segment, which are connected to Copernicus DES and the ground segment. So I'm right now working in eShape to characterize these platforms, and some platforms are thematic, specialized on a certain thematic. Some platforms are for agriculture, for the atmosphere, for biodiversity. Some are for research and not so much for operational duties. They're for research. Some are dedicated to satellite data. Some have a regional focus. NextGEOSS, as the DES, as ELIP, is part of these generalist platforms. So there is no specificity on the domain, no specificity on the data type, and it's generalist. So how to characterize NextGEOSS? In my first framework of characterization, considering the thematic, I say it is generalist, coverage focus, it is global, data type, it can handle heterogeneous data, user focus, it can address researchers or on-duty business, technical cloud services, it offers all types of services, and it offers mainly platform as a service service. And we have no data eviction policy really, because NextGEOSS is depending on the data policy of the data providers. And we have an asset here out of the NextGEOSS Sentinel Linker service. Considering the governance, it's a hybrid, and maybe in the future, because some private companies like Deimos, BLB, TerraDue have committed to support the NextGEOSS in the future. And the business model is to provide a comprehensive Earth observation services for geo communities to make sure that NextGEOSS makes the connection from the data to the business. So considering the platforms I have shown, there are 4 platforms that are sharing TerraDue ELIP as a foundation, and where the interoperability should be easier. So there are 2 tabs, the GeoHazard and the Hydro tab. NextGEOSS, which is the same concept as the tabs, meaning to connect the data seamlessly to the cloud resources and to the publication. But instead of being specialized, it is a generalist. And then the ELIP integration platform from TerraDue itself. So which are the assets and risks I identify for NextGEOSS? The assets is the data variety that it can serve, the data harvesting flexibility and this open community, the target cloud and platform flexibility. When I say target, it's a target for operations. The comprehensive Earth observation services for the geo community, the support, and this has been mentioned, the quality of the support by the pilot several times. A community which is strongly related to geo, and this also has been shown before. And the engagement techniques, which are the onboarding, the hackathons, where we have seen hackathons with more than 200 participants in Africa, the webinars, and so on. Which are the risks? It's still young. We are in a transitioning phase from the end of the project to new sustainability ways. So, of course, this is a stage which is risky, but this cannot be considered as a weakness of NextGEOSS. It would be the same for any system which is transitioning like that. I think I have ended my presentation, and I'm ready for questions if you want.
Thank you, Marie-Francoise. I don't know, you did the whole thing. Lionel, do you have any comments?
No, that was planned that way. That was planned that way, as I do the previous one, which was really more focused between NextGEOSS and eShape. Marie-Francoise, who has mostly done the analysis, has extended this to all the platform to see the eShape ecosystem and focus on NextGEOSS as well.
Yeah.
Lionel has presented the detail of the pilots planning to use NextGEOSS, and it showed that the pilots have understood clearly all these services that NextGEOSS is providing with the data hub and with the cloud capacities and so on. And I was trying to put that much more in the perspective of EuroGEO.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes. Do you have any questions to this, by the way? Feel free. We can even invite you in, but maybe we should invite you in after all the presentations are done. I think that's better. But raise your hand if it's like something you really want to ask that is a little bit more complicated than writing. Please do so. And if not, just ask questions in the chat. And we will give the floor to Nuno Grosso, who will talk about NextLand again. Nuno.
Hi, everyone. Yes. Yeah, so I'll present NextLand in more detail today, providing some more detailed overview of the different services included, of what's our vision, of how are we going to develop the work in NextLand. Let me share my screen with you.
Yes, we will turn off our cameras and come back again to the audience when you're done.
So hopefully you can see my presentation. So NextLand is an H2020 project that started in June in June this year, basically. So we are ongoing for 4 months now, 3 months now. And I'm here to talk about how are we going to establish NextLand as a marketplace for EU-based agriculture and forestry services. So I'll go through the essentials of the project, share to you our vision and what we aim to be by the end of the project in 2023, give you an overview of the services, of the platform that's going to deliver those services and is going to interface with the users, bring back again the focus on how NextLand is based on the legacy and heritage provided by NextGEOS, and as I said in the session yesterday, also eShape. It's important to see the continuation and the flow from these different projects, and then I'll conclude with the next steps and where are we focusing on. So the essentials. So NextLand is formed as an alliance of currently 4 different Earth observation service providers. Hopefully, by the end of the project, there will be more joining. We have then 2 expert companies on EO service integration and operation, and 1 business management university. And our main goal is to offer 15 different, at least for now in the beginning, 15. We hope to extend that portfolio. 15 commercial EO-based agriculture and forestry services that are based on GEOSS and Copernicus data, that are 100% co-created with alpha and beta users, and those alpha and beta users represent the target markets of NextLand. Alpha users are within the consortium. Beta users will be joining the project after the end of the first year, coming from outside the consortium that have a commercial interest in the services that we provide. And all of these services will be provided by a single platform, a single service access point. So the 11 partners are seen here. So you have the 4 different, sorry about that. So you have the 4 different EO service providers, Demus, Vito, Diagrass, and Vandagsat. So Demus, the main service provider for forestry, Vito, the main service provider for agriculture, Diagrass related to vegetation and water content, and Vandagsat related to soil moisture. Then the 2 expert companies in service integration and operation support are Demus and Terradue. The business management university is the Nova School of Business Economics, and then the alpha users are Soil Essentials, the Soil Service Belgium, S&T, CERT, and the European Forest Institute. So just to mark some milestones there in the project. We started in the 1st of June 2020. We hope to launch the first release of the platform that delivers different services by the 2nd quarter 2021. The overall cost of the project are 3.4 million. The EC grant is 2.8. So there's an investment from the different partners, and especially the commercial ones that are interested in having this commercial, and that's why they're investing. And that's the main purpose of the project. The project lead is Elecnor Demus. We have 11 project partners that I presented to you before. And what is our vision? Our vision is EO innovation through collaboration. So the focus is pretty much also in the service characteristics, in providing cloud-free images, higher resolutions, accurate predictions based on deep learning and AI, but also in the way we deliver those services. It's also in the way we try to reduce operational costs to deliver those services. So make it easier for users to use them and make it cheaper for them to use them. So that's our focus. That's where our commercial focus is on, developing a business model that fits these objectives. We are not aiming at going through the entire value chain. We know our expertise is in EO. That is clear to us. We don't want to go all into the value chain, so we are in this midstream where we are linking with agriculture and forestry service providers, associations, public authorities, and large end user companies to provide to them these services data streams so that they can enrich their own portfolio of activities, add value, add information over those services. So the focus is, as I said, in the co-creation with alpha users. It has to be user-driven, user-centric. That was referred by many other presentations before. And in NextLand, they're represented by the alpha users. The first development phase of NextLand will be done by those 5 that I mentioned earlier. They will derive a first set of requirements. Those requirements will be translated into the evolution of the services that are already existing and already robust to be included in the platform. And there will be a continuous test, validation, and feedback cycle between alpha users and service and platform developers. After the second year, 10 beta users will be added to this co-creation process, as I mentioned earlier. So we grouped the different services into user scenarios according to the feedback that we got from the alpha users. That's actually a process driven by the alpha users. And we got the 7 user scenarios from support to irrigation to deforestation and illegal logging, forest health, crop planning optimization. So different set of user scenarios for agriculture and forestry that encapsulate the different services that we are providing. Going a bit into more detail about the services. So there are 15. We'll launch it in spring 2021 in this platform. And hopefully this technology, this yield-based technology will help boost efficiency in agriculture and forestry while helping them achieving ambitious sustainability and productivity goals. Those are the services. The 4 of them are focused on agriculture, from crop type classification to crop water needs. 5 can be used by in agriculture and forestry, vegetation index, soil moisture, vegetation and water content. Forestry, we have 5 services fully devoted to forestry, from change detection, focusing on deforestation, to 3 health indexes or forest classification. These are provided by different service providers, and they're all integrated with the support of Demos and Terra do E. As I said, the aim is to have centralized operations, scalable services, and full customer support to provide a better service at a cheaper price. So these are some examples of the services that are within NextLand. I won't go into detail of those. I can share my presentation that has a full set of services that are within NextLand. I try to include one from each service provider here, but there are a lot more details that I can give you, and the service providers can give you if you contact us. Then you have the platform. That platform is the single service access point that I mentioned. You can see a screenshot there of what we are preparing for within NextLand. The aim is to have a single user-friendly platform that provides access to all of those, and it's coming on spring 2021. So refocusing a bit on what was said also in the previous session yesterday. We want to emphasize that indeed NextLand wouldn't be possible, and the focus on commercialization wouldn't be possible if we weren't relying already on a set of services that are already robust and operational and can be used and integrated to provide operationalization capabilities to all these different services. And this is fed mainly by NextGEOSS with the data and service cataloging, where we are harvesting all the output data from the services. The services are being cataloged in the service catalog. one of the service integration environments that are available to the NextLand services. They can bring their own infrastructure, but if they don't have it or they want to scale into others, they can rely on the service integration environment led by Terra2. That is the same one that is being used in NextGEOSS. The user management is responsible for all authentication, authorization, and accounting activities within NextLand, and the operational analytics and dashboards that were developed in NextGEOSS are now being used to monitor, or will be used, are now being integrated and will be used to monitor the performance of the different services. So to conclude, we are in the beginning. We are 4 months into the project. What's so special about us? We want to co-create with the users. We have 5 consortium partners that are fully devoted, that are representing target markets of NextLand. We want those requirements. We want to do this continuous test validation in user feedback cycles. We are therefore user-centric. We want to combine the different services into custom packages adapted to the user scenarios that they bring in. And we want to be part of this strong network between the service providers and alpha users. And of course, we have also some objectives in terms of innovation related to cloud-free imaging, atmospheric corrections, improving the resolution of our products. That's key to most of our alpha users, and we are committed to that within NextLand. So if you want to know more, NextLand website, I won't be able to share it yet because it's not available. It will be very, very soon, by the end of the month. But also the social media channels will be open by then. In the meanwhile, if you want to get news from NextLand, you can subscribe to our newsletter or contact me directly. And I know that Bente will ask me to put in the links in the chat room, in the chat box, and I will do so immediately. And that's all.
You are absolutely right, Nuno Grosso. I would ask you to put the link into the chat so people can sign up to your NextLand project and potential collaboration in the future. So yes, thank you very much, Nuno. I say Nuno Grosso because we have another Nuno, and then we know there's a whole bunch of other Nunos in the Demos company in Portugal. So we are used to using your full name. Okay, ask us questions in the chat. Comment, let us know if this is something interesting. Let us know if you would consider using NextGEOSS as a means of furthering your development, either as a testing interested in developing the ICT aspects of NextGEOSS, or if you would like to join the communities, so the scientific communities, for instance, around energy, territorial planning. You know, you have a wide spectrum of user communities. So if this is of interest, let us know. And meanwhile, I will introduce a Norwegian project. I think that's on the agenda now. Well, actually, we will take one question since it came so fast. Thierry, thank you very much. Nuno G, how do you see the collaboration with eShape?
Yes, I mentioned in the first session where I presented NextLand, and I'll reinforce it here that it was key for our co-design process to have the collaboration with the eShape co-design team. That were bringing in a lot of info for us to digest and to introduce into our co-design process. And this was led by, within NextLand, this was led by Vito. Within eShape, this is led by Armin Paritek, and there was a very good collaboration there. The eShape co-design team was co-designing the co-design process with the Vito team, and the result was very good. So framing all the process, identifying what type of co-designs were going to be started with each alpha user, that was key for to make this process as useful and as quick to implement as possible. So that collaboration cannot be emphasized enough, and it will be continued during the next 2 years of the project, 3 years of the project.
Yeah, thank you. And we have another question from Frank. Hi, Nuno. Soil moisture products are very welcome for the NWP. What is the coverage and repeat rate?
Oh, so okay, the coverage is global. The van der Sar products are global. They are now currently, they have a 100-meter resolution. The repeat rate, I think they're up to like daily to 2 days. It's not. It's the repeat is very. They're highly. The temporal resolution is very high. I can give you more details. We're now finishing our service portfolio. If you send me your contact, I can send you that deliverable, because it's a project deliverable, but it's an open one, of course, and we can share with you all the technical aspects of each service for sure.
Yeah.
So for us, the soil moisture product will be used in the scope of this agriculture and forestry. But of course, for numerical weather prediction, it's also very useful to parameterize the model. So
great.
Feel free.
Yes. So Frank, you see that Nuno was doing yet another thing I would ask him, namely to provide the email in the chat. So if you scroll the chat, you will see the email so that you can send directly to Nuno. Thierry, thank you for the answer. Yeah, I thank you also, Thierry, for the question, because I want to ask you, Marie-Francoise, to explain the difference between the co-design that we are talking about in NextGEOSS and the co-design you are talking about in eShape, because I know that you're very good at explaining this. And for educational purposes, I think this is important to highlight. Mute.
So as we have mentioned several times, to serve the communities, we do that in NextGEOSS in 2 steps. The pilots are serving the users, typically, let's say, the farmer or any partner you will have, like you have Armin to sell the solar panels and so on. And NextGEOSS is serving the people who are developing the applications. So we have co-designed the services which are needed by these people who developed the applications, and this is what has been done with the pilots themselves and with the IT partners. But in NextGEOSS, we did not work on the co-design of the application themselves. We have let the pilots do it their way, and this is what eShape is doing really well. And so, and bringing a lot of value and making something which is a research, but they're keen on working from putting it from research into operation to disseminate. And I'm super happy to see that Nuno says that they can already benefit from it in other projects. This means that this transition from research to a broader community, which is always something very difficult, is working really well already in eShape. So this is great. So you have 2 levels of co-design because you have 2 different types of public.
Exactly, you are at different places in the value chain, and I'm very happy to see that Thierry also signed up for becoming a member of the NextEO community activity. So NextGEO, so you can benefit from learning both the co-design in NextGEOSS and the co-design in eShape if you join our community activity. I'm sure of it. So with that, I will. We can come back to this discussion here. I will finish the presentation. I think I have the last presentation of the day before we are discussing. So I
will make the transition if you want, Bente.
Okay.
So Nuno has introduced how NextGEOSS is going to live through the NextEOSS community into the GEO work program. Nuno and I have presented how NextGEOSS is already involved into existing H2020 projects, and probably will show in other H2020 or Horizon projects. And now, Bente, you will present how NextGEOSS is has some sustainability thread through national projects, and in your case, projects from Norway, of course.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Marie-Francoise. I will share my screen and let's see if I'm better at using the software I'm using frequently. There you go. Right now you see my screen. I will turn off my camera. Right. So yes, this is a national project. And as you know, BLB is a partner in NextGEOSS. And in the context of GEO, I have been working a lot on resource mobilization. So when looking at how we can make NextGEOSS sustainable and also disseminate the results of NextGEOSS outside the existing consortium, I was planning on using introducing the resources of NextGEOSS in Norway. And I was lucky and got some resources from the Research Council of Norway to a small project where we are, going to inform about the NextGEOSS, just like we have been doing during the summit, but particularly address the Norwegian community. But I will come back to that. It's not only Norwegian actors that is included in this project. Let me just first introduce the starting point. Not only do we plan to use, of course, the data hub and the platform services that you have been learning about, but we will also, more specifically, we will narrow down on one of the pilots, naturally the cold regions pilot. And here you see the core group that have been working. We have been working on the cold region pilot, and you heard Toril Hamre present this earlier today. Now, this is the starting point, and that there's a large community in Norway that are interested in cold regions. It goes without saying, and the goal is to start with that and develop the cold region pilot further, and also position ourselves for even further collaboration, not only inside Norway, but with international partners. So in other words, you who are listening here are among those we are interested in working with. So just a reminder, the NextGEOSS project we're collaborating very closely with Interos for natural reasons. The Nansen Center is involved in both. And TerraDue is also involved in both. So it's natural to start with these organizations. And you see here that we have already created a data product from the CIS classification and drift services, and we have created a cold region community portal. And this is the starting point for the further development. And how are we going to attack that? Well, we are again going to use some of the experiences that we learned from being involved in NextGEOSS. And also with, of course, the European and global community in Earth observations. This you have seen earlier today. I have highlighted here the Inspire Hackathon, because hackathons, this small Norwegian project will be consisting of workshops and hackathons. And in the workshops, we have already gotten the acceptance of our dear colleagues in NextGEOSS, from Deimos, from OGC, and from TerraDue. They have promised to share the knowledge and information from NextGEOSS in workshops in Norway. So that will be the starting point. And then we will organize a hackathon, a series of hackathons, in fact, where we are going to dive deeper into developing applications, see how we can use the services of the data hub and the platform in continuing a cold region pilot. And that how we have already started to plan out the first version of this hackathon with TerraDue, and we are suspecting that this will happen after the Geo Week, so in November, December, we are aiming to have the first one. Then we will see how it goes. It was originally as planned earlier, but because of the COVID situation, we have postponed it a little bit. Now, an important factor, I also want to highlight this. I use the opportunity. So capacity building is really important. We also want to use this opportunity to train and educate more of the Norwegian community. But the hackathon, by the way, the hackathon is open for everybody. So the hackathon will be an invitation will be sent to the entire GEO community. It's open for all, and this might be an interesting offer. Even if you're not so much interested in cold region, it might be an opportunity for you to learn more about the NextGEOSS platform. So this is the plan, and we are also going to test out further the onboarding process that we have developed in NextGEOSS. And so basically this is disseminating the results, using the further develop the pilot that we have in NextGEOSS, and then consolidate and maybe form new consortia that again will be able to support the activity in NextGEOSS, so maintain NextGEOSS in the future as well. And it will be part of let me see. It will be part of what we contribute to the NextEOSS community activity as well. So just let me know if this is interesting for you. We will definitely be happy to invite you to participate in the hackathon that will be open not only for Norwegians, but for Europeans and beyond. I think that's it for me. If you have any questions about this Norwegian project, I mean, this is a small Norwegian project, and this is like, you can use it as an example of how you yourself can, in your country or even within your organization, if you work in a big organization, you can sort of ask for some small money to further the results of NextGEOSS, even if you already are a partner in NextGEOSS, or if you are a member of the community around us. Thank you. Okay, putting back my hat as a webinar runner. Can I get my speakers back? Marie-Francoise left us? No, she did not. No. There you are. Okay, I think we have arrived at the discussion period. Okay, Manish is asking, what is the procedure for training capacity building? If you are referring, Manish, to the Norwegian project, when we organize the hackathons, we have built-in webinars. So I will provide a link to the Inspire Hackathon concept. So we plan to have these hackathon as part of the Inspire Hackathon series, which means that if you address a specific challenge, then you identify, for instance, that you need to learn something, some Jupyter Notebook or something on the platform on NextGEOSS. Then we organize a webinar where we educate those who are participating in the hackathon already, and we make it open to everybody, by the way. You don't have to commit to be a hackathon participant, but then we address a specific topic that is central to the challenge you address in the hackathon. And so this is a part of the capacity building. Some of these webinars are more like an overview. Other webinars, we can dive really deep into technical training. So it depends on the topics that we identify in the challenges. So it's very flexible and it's open to everybody. I hope that answered your question. Yes. Do I see more questions? My fellow speakers, do you have any comments and things you want to add at this point?
I wanted to add something. So when I mentioned the collaboration with both NextGEOSS and eShape in the scope of NextLand and the legacy that was there, I was focusing more on the technology on the NextGEOSS and on the co-design on eShape, but there are a lot more interactions and links there. For instance, on the development of the services, some of the services that are developed within or are being evolved within NextLand were developed in the scope of NextGEOSS. So the VITO data fusion service related to agriculture that was first initiated in NextGEOSS, and now it's being brought into the service portfolio of NextLand. I know that there's a food security and agriculture showcase also in eShape where VITO is leading, and that's also being brought into NextLand. So the interactions don't stop in the process or in the technologies. It's also the applications. So there's a continuation from the work being done in NextGEOSS and in eShape and flowing into NextLand.
Oh, interesting. Thank you. Yes. Do you have? Well, you mentioned already in the eShape pilots that several were interested in NextGEOSS. Lionel, and particularly yesterday, I believe you showed this. Do you see any? Are any of these potentially able to collectively go for some resource mobilization? Is it at this stage, or is more technical?
So if you refer to the second part of my presentation yesterday, were about the onboarding process. So again, we were really greatly surprised that there was a quite large amount of numerous responders that mentioned NextGEOSS as not only the buzzword, would I say, because it was mentioned, such as with the TEP, ISATEP, or GEOSS. But if you remember, I present 3 items that really has been nailed down by the responder that have thoroughly analyzed what was the offer of NextGEOSS. So for cloud busting, for API search, in order to get back some resource, and as well to be the platform to expose their results. And again, this was not only mentioned as, yes, we are going to use NextGEOSS. No, we are going to use NextGEOSS for this and this purpose. And so again, so of course these are this call was quite successful. It was we have had numerous answers. Of course, the profile were, as I mentioned, I think it was 75% coming from companies. So the profile, the general profile was company already well involved in the EO business. So they know the landscape and they know exactly the offers. And when they've mentioned NextGEOSS, this is because they really already know what was the offer. But it's up to the group to have been able to make sure that this outreach activity has been well understood. And this feedback came without any further, let's say, support from us, but we can precisely analyze that people have already understand what are the offers. So now, of course, there's going to be a process of drilling down to the 5 best one. I cannot, let's say, first discard any information because the winning process will be, let's say, presented at the Next General Assembly, 1921 October. Remember the date. Welcome. And from there we will see basically. So, but it was quite impressive, definitely.
Yes, yeah, and I think this is a common issue for not only all the Horizon 2020 projects, any project in Europe, but this is a common challenge throughout the entire GEO work program. Remember, we are discussing this now in the context of how we can continue to support GEO. And we have some assets here. We have already demonstrated that we are able to collaborate. So, for instance, eShape and NextGEOSS is very closely working together, both inside the GEO framework and outside the GEO framework. But I think that those who are not currently already in this community, and we have had in the audience during this summit, we have had several individuals that are not members of the current GEO community here. So I think it's also worth mentioning, if you are thinking, I don't have the resources, I don't have the means to do this, you should be able to, you should know that you can actually join. You are welcome to join, even with, just join to learn or join in potential future collaborations. To create new projects and go to find new resources.
Just to follow up, just now all the PCs are here, they are available. So we are at the end of the project, and definitely the follow-up to NextEOS. Now that all the pieces of the puzzle are ready, operational, definitely I think we will feel and we will scale up within NextEOS. And again, it's a very, very let's say, original offer that we may provide to the whole GEO community.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I want to, this is maybe repeat, but you may have noticed that several of the offers from NextGEOSS is free. It's free for you to use. And another point I want to make is that the software that we have, or what we have created, is also open source. And I know this particularly with the eyes of the cold region, this transparency and openness is actually crucial for certain parts of polar and cold region development. Is really, really important. And so for that, I think this is a very good opportunity, this transparency and openness. So yeah. Marie-Francoise, do you have any other observations? I see, well, sorry, I will take this chat first. Thierry is asking, there is also, or commenting, there is also an exploration work of the link between GEO and the private sector within GEO. Yes, a good point. And the GEO Week will also have a focus on this. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Thierry. And Nuno Catarino, you mentioned that, explaining a little bit what the motivation for so many of the private companies, in maintaining this. And that's full transparency, that we are giving things away for free, but it's also like creating a market to collectively. So one of our partners is ERSC, which is sort of an umbrella organization for European Earth observation companies, commercial part. They are members of GEO. And as being a member of GEO since the very beginning myself, first as a national agency representative, and now as a private actor, it's really a very open and relaxed community to be a part of, where you as a scientist can easily and informally collaborate with the private sector and vice versa. It's just a big family, in my view. Thierry, the lead is to enlarge the community looking to GEO. Yes, absolutely. So we have a common goal. No matter what type of organization you represent, we have the common goal of enlarge the Earth observation community, because we need to make better use of all this data that come from Earth observation. Any more comments from anybody? Marie-Francoise, now I will give you the floor. Sorry.
Well, so considering the agenda, The first days were for data users, data providers, people looking for scalability, and today the users were the GEO community. I hope that all these presentations have made very clear that this community was the priority in our mind to serve, of course by design, because we had onboarded some pilots that were already very connected to the community, and we have seen that with Sergio Albani, for instance, with Satsen, and with Lionel and Thierry from GeoVener. So, and Vito works very closely to GeoGlam, and we have seen with it. So this was into the design of NextGEOSS since the beginning, into our GEOSS. And I hope that today we have shown that this community was our major user behind. You can be GEO and be a data user, you can be GEO and be a data provider, or GEO and an application provider. So the users have several facets, but definitely the project has been for this community, and it is not easy to demonstrate. So I hope that this message went through clearly today. They are muted, Bente.
Thank you. Yeah, I mute myself because there are some activities in the house here. I want to protect the sound. Okay. I don't see any more questions. You can raise your hand if you want to, if you find it easier to present your comment or your question inside the room.
I think there's one from Manish about air quality.
Oh, yeah. I overlooked this.
That you have made.
Yeah. So
okay.
Manish, again, thank you so much. We've noticed that you have been very actively participating. We really appreciate that. Manish is thinking, I'm thinking about linking air quality with burned or vegetation index due to waste burning or crop burning. Is it feasible? Nuno knows. Or maybe Marie-Francoise, you know?
Okay, I dwelled on it during my PhD years. I can give my opinion, but I would think that people coming from DLR that are driving the air quality pilot within NextGEOSS would be the most qualified ones to provide input here. In theory, of course, you can link air quality with smokestacks coming from burned vegetation. It depends a bit on the scope of the work that you want to do, but I would say I don't know if we have here the contacts from, and I don't know if we can share them with Manish, but if we can, or if people from DLR are attending the summit, maybe they can share their contacts with Manish, and they can provide them further insight.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, if we look at the testimony from DLR on the air pollution in megacities pilot made by Thilo, he actually describes, Manish, how they are combining Earth observations with health data. So, I mean, it's up to you to see what type of data do you want to combine, but definitely what they have demonstrated in this pilot is to combine Earth observation data with health data. So I think this is definitely doable in another field. If Frank is
Frank is from DLR, so I think he's answering Manish with his background.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was. So thank you, Frank. His linking atmosphere with land is always exciting. Yes. Have you checked the CAMS GFAS fire service? Yes. So this is what we mean, right? To have this community where we are exchanging across different disciplines our experiences and knowledge. So live demo here.
NextEOSS capacity building are on the way.
Yes.
Well, you know, again, I think we are very near what we wanted to demonstrate, that NextGEOSS is trying to bridge, has worked to bridge the data to the communities. And here it's typically a scientific question. Unfortunately, we have addressed that as IT experts here in the room. there are some people from Frank, apparently from DNR, who knows more about atmosphere pollution or whichever. And the problem is gathering into the same room people with different backgrounds. This is why we have target into the different agenda, the different profiles, because you need to be able to exchange on all these questions, whichever your background, to find together the solution.
Yes, and we have seen this demonstrated in GEO several times, and of course you cannot see what we did at the summit in Lisbon, but it became quite clear there with the words of those from the pilots that they had benefited from the IT competence derived for from a different field. They were transferred to another between the fields, the thematics fields, and this is Nuno Catarino when you showed the list of working groups that we had sketched in the NextEOS community activity. Thematic groups is one of the working groups, along with the others, the more technical groups, right? So we are trying to reflect this, the way we have worked in NextGEOS with this.
Yes, definitely. It's not a static structure. We expect to have a lot of contributions from new technology providers, thematic developers, and also hopefully from GEOS itself. I see that Guido is in the audience. Just was there already. We hope to see you there and to be able to have this forum for addressing the most important issues that we can find for interoperability.
Yes, absolutely. So when you say people from GEO, you mean from the GEO Secretariat, or from the?
I would say we're more technical than generic GEO Secretariat. So I would push more for the connection, or for continue to pursue the connection with GEOS. So with the GEOS portal, we started some initiatives. We talked about this morning, but we still have a lot of way to go. But in general, with all the GEOS developments and future plans, we could contribute a lot for that.
Yeah. So Gilles Lullier from the European Commission, very great to see you here. Gilles, do you want to have some comment? You are welcome to raise your hand, and I can give you the floor. Just let me know. So Gilles is commenting, I think it's utmost important to maintain the groups behind the pilots. Yes, I think this is happening also in the NextEOS community activity. As far as I know, for instance, the energy pilots, you plan to be there, right? Lionel?
Yes, absolutely. We are at the beginning of the brainstorming of this community activity with all the, as part of an NextGEOS project, but as well with all the, let's say, people who were keen to pursue this adventure of NextGEOS into community activity. And definitely, we personally, let's say, the leader of the GeoVision for Energy, are keen to have this asset available, because we know already that the profile of the users, which are parts, and that we know quite well. Again, if you listen to the presentation I made, we have really a good contact with the industry. So they are really mature for experimenting, moving from simple from existing let's say assets of search and discovery to some more prototyping using cloud, using parallel computing, using potential new assets. They are ready, almost ready, and they need to be accompanied. And we, Armin, within the team are basically this interface between what the community is expected due to this, let's say, ever evolving IT landscape, but it should fit their need, their business, and we are here basically to listen to them, to be quite in advance in order to accompany them, and definitely NextGEOS and the asset in NextGEOS are here to demonstrate and to do this. So yes, we are really keen to participate.
And I mean, also beyond also NextEOS and the effort we're doing there, there's also the European Commission's initiative, the action groups in EuroGEO, which will be very important, and the role that eShape is already bringing that. So in a way, we passed the testimony for gathering this community for the pilots. We passed the testimony from NextGEOSS to eShape, and I'd say that half of the members of eShape are NextGEOSS partners.
Yes, and Gilles is here. By the way, can you just test that we can hear you, Gilles?
He wants to step in, Bente.
He is already in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just like to say something, because that eShape, I don't know how far we can bring that. Is that the link we have connected here between the data, the cloud technology, and the community. There is much more to do about that, because there is artificial intelligence, machine learning, the data cubes, all these new technologies, which are arriving with the cloud and the Earth observation community really needs. And this transfer of knowledge and this kickoff, well, I would say support of the Earth observation community to adopt it and adopt them, it's still to be done, I think.
But this, what you're talking about, is NextGEOSS 2.
Okay, Gilles. We can see you. Yeah. Gilles.
Hi, Gilles.
Hi, so nice to see you again, Gilles. Long time.
Can you hear?
It doesn't look like you. Can you hear us, Gilles? You have to say something. You are very quiet.
I don't think he's listening.
No. Well, we saw you, Gilles.
In the meantime, just to follow up on this community, or maybe Gilles is.
Gilles, can you try to speak? We don't hear you. We see you, but we don't hear you, even though the mic is on. What happened last time? Do we have to do the reboot, or do you have to go out? No. Do you have a headset, Gilles? No. Maybe you have to allow the audio on the software. Yeah, while Gilles is trying, you can go in and out, Gilles. I will raise your hand when you come back in, and I will give you the link. I will allow you in again. Yes. Okay.
In any case, tomorrow the discussion will be very much about that, the follow-up of NextGEOSS, and so we can prepare with Gilles for tomorrow if this does not work today.
Yeah. But Lionel, you were having...
Yeah, just a small, let's say, return on experience is that those community activity within this quite, as mentioned, technical landscape is definitely crucial, because we know by experience, and I've experimented this many times before, that it is better to make the presentation of a solution, which is basically based on IT, if it is someone from your community who is doing it.
Yeah.
So I always, long time ago, passed the floor to my colleague Lucien Wald, so explaining him all about what was the technology, but let this guy, who were an energy specialist, talk to the community. And it is by far very more understandable, because I am an IT guy, we deep down into some technical stuff, which basically is will not be maybe captured in the best manner than someone from the community. So having this group of, let's say, support software component to the community, but within this group some, let's say, thematic activity that can bridge this gap is crucial. Yeah.
It seems like, yeah, the pilots here, and you being one example then, Lionel, is sort of the interpreter between the IT and understanding the platform, the technicalities, and understanding the communities. We need several interpreters in the value chain. So now we will give it another try with Gilles. I just invited him. Let's see if his setup is more cooperative this time. So bringing up this community, as Gilles said, we need to maintain these communities. I think what Marie-Francoise has been saying, what is special with NextGEOSS is not that the pilots are siloed and independent. They are actually an integral part of NextGEOSS. And I believe that is the strength that we can, and the resources that we can bring to GEO. We are really, as you say, Marie-Francoise, we are really connecting those two communities very, very closely, which is, I think for the first time, we have seen this close relationship between a user community and the ones who are developing the tools that the user community needs. So I really hope that the GEO community present here are appreciating this resources and join us in the NextGEOSS community, NextEOSS community activity. It's a wonderful opportunity to benefit from a huge investment. I mean, it's 10 million euros. It's not small money in this. It's really a huge investment. So Gilles was trying, and now he is not succeeding, I think. He was in here, and now there's something with his cache. So we'll give him one more try, and then we can call it a day. We have had a very busy day today. We are almost on time, just 5 minutes past now, the original planned time, and but we had 1 hour beyond it.
But then we can make a technical try with Gilles tonight, so that we can step in tomorrow more easily, because tomorrow we will have time to discuss about these same topics.
Yes.
About the future topics.
Yes. Yes, that would be Gilles is here. He succeeded in getting in, and now the suspense again in terms of the voice. If we can hear you speak.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. How are you doing? No, it was just always the same story. There was not the right audio at my hand, so. No, thank you very much for the organization of the meeting, and I'm impressed by the number of pilots you have been presenting. What I was about to say, and is that by all means we need to maintain the groups which are behind the pilots, but irrespective to whatever project is supporting those groups. So it means that, okay, we know there is E-Shape, but there might be new projects as well at national level, at international level. So, but there is a need, and then maybe it's the role of EuroGEO and the EuroGEO governance. So it's the reason why we need the meeting of a coordination group sometime. But because the investment which have been done to put together those groups are quite significant, and it would be a pity not to be able to maintain the groups on the longer term. So for me, it doesn't stop at a project. NextGEOSS has a great value, but I think what the community should have in mind is a working together to maintain those groups together beyond one single project. And I think it's in the interest of everybody, because it's a snowball effect at the end. Because if you show you are going to maintain on the long term, you are prominent, and you are more in the situation to attract new support.
Absolutely, Gilles.
Okay, I don't want to say more. Just say thank you for the organization of the meeting, and I guess and this is what I was saying this morning as well, is that the pilots you have been working on have to be easily discoverable, because maybe there is a site, there is a website for the project, but NextGEOSS is known in not a narrow circle, Nuno, but is not known so I mean, in a broad circle. And so we have to rely on platforms that are, for dissemination, that are well known. So I think this is my message, and thank you again for this. Marianne, come in. I am with Marianne.
Yeah, okay.
So the colleagues in yeah, the colleagues in NextGEOSS, they're doing a great job, and but the question is now continuity, and this continuity can come only with collaboration.
So see you later, Bente, and I'll see the rest of you later tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely.
Tomorrow, Maria.
Projects. So this is what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah. Gilles, did you notice the NextEOS community activity where actually all of these pilot communities can be joining together?
If I noticed, sorry.
Yeah, if you notice the NextEOS community activity in GEO, in the GEO work program, we have created this community activities. You know, the flagship.
Yeah. No, yeah. I didn't dig into that. Sorry.
No. So this is already partly, I think this is a solution to, at least what I understand you, to maintain those communities. And so this will be a place where these communities can continue to have a dialogue on their specific challenges, but they can also continue to do what we have been doing successfully in NextGEOSS, to have a dialogue across the different pilots. So they learn from each other.
Okay. We're going to try to give some visibility to your work, NextGEOSS, eShape, etc., through the GEO week.
Excellent.
The GEO Virtual Week. I suggest you connect during the event, because GEO is making a specific effort to maintain it as a virtual event.
Yes, we know, of course.
So,
yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.
So sorry to take your precious time.
No.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Ciao, Jim. Yes, that was excellent to hear the feedback from the European Commission. If for those of you who don't know who Gilles Roulier is, he's working in the Earth Observation Unit in RDT, so one of the directorates responsible for Earth observation in the European Commission, and a long time member of the GEO community, so he knows the GEO community very well. Yes, I think I don't have anything else to add, only just encourage everybody to join us tomorrow morning as well at 10:30. We will have a bit of a different day tomorrow. We will not have an afternoon session per se. It will stretch into the afternoon, but we'll just switch from one session with just a 5 minutes break and into another session. And that second session will be started by Gilberto Camara, the director of GEO. And we got a brief glimpse of Marianne van Merlo from the European Commission. She will also speak in the second session of tomorrow. Yes. Marie-Francoise, did I forget something that you want to add?
No, I think you did a great job, Bente. Thank you. And I hope that the audience will join tomorrow.
Yes.
And if you have missed past session, everything will be available. All the recordings will be available.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow. Bye-bye.